Remember the days when Doctor Who used to scare you so much that you'd hide behind the sofa in fear? Well, that doesn't happen anymore. It seems those days are over. Of course, the matter of the fact is, we've grown up through the years and we aren't kids anymore, and obviously we aren't going to hide behind the couch. But I feel like Doctor Who, it isn't even scary enough for us to feel fear at all. Like, we've grown up and Doctor Who hasn't. Over the years, it's lost its scary horror aspect. It was something which made the show so amazing and made it different than any other show on TV. But not because of that fact alone, it's because it did have that scary horror aspect and the fear and the freaky villains and the monsters and stuff, but it also had that thrilling, exciting adventures, you know, the emotion, the different feelings. There were happy moments, there were dark moments, there were sad moments and scary moments. And all of that combined and mixed together made such an amazing show, which is why it was the top of the leaderboard back then. It was, you know, it was everywhere. It was so massive. Obviously, it's called like the Doctor Who's golden era with David Tennant, and off the back of Chris, who had an amazing season, and I felt like if he kept on and he did more seasons, I think Doctor Who would have been even bigger. But his ending was still really, really good. But that's a different video. Now, if you've watched Doctor Who before, you've probably watched Christopher Eccleston's series, David Tennant's era, and maybe a bit of Matt Smith's era. And if you are a bigger fan, Peter Capaldi's and maybe even up to Jodie's, I don't know. But yeah, I feel like the majority of people who have watched Doctor Who have watched them three. And right now, I bet you could list a massive long list of villains and monsters from those series that you feared and you thought was scary and that made you hide behind the couch, run away in horror. Monsters and creatures that gave you horrible nightmares at night, and maybe even still to this day. Not me, of course. But honestly, past Peter Capaldi's era, there's nothing much to be scared by. There's no many real like horror creatures or horror elements, and when there is, they're just done really bad, and the costumes are bad, the stories are bad, and it all just, there's no tension to it, there's no real horror, and I felt like they just left that in the past. I mean, you couldn't tell me you've been scared to the point of hiding behind the sofa from Jodie's era. I mean, and if you can, then you're probably still a child. To be fair, two episodes that did stand out to me from Jodie's era as the 13th Doctor were the episodes called Village of the Angels and Eve of the Daleks. Now yes, these are both already classic villains, which I feel adds to the fact, but somehow these are actually really good episodes, to an extent. I mean, comparing to the rest of Jodie's era, they were good. And also, the stories of both actually felt new and fun and intense, and not like they were just using a popular villain of the past to get the fans back into the show as one last push, which was probably also kind of the reason why. Village of the Angels was a welcome addition to the Angel episodes. From watching that episode, it's weird because you feel like the show could have gone in a new direction like that, where it was better, because it felt like the storytelling in the episode, the writing was to a new level than what it had been. And it was actually scary, it was a bit freaky, you know, that well, obviously it's the Angels and you can't go wrong with them, but it was done in kind of a new way. It wasn't just a redo, and it was the Doctor actually in danger with them. And then obviously at the end we get that cliffhanger where she turns into an angel, but I feel like when we see the result of that cliffhanger, it was kind of like a letdown. It was kind of like, ugh. Like, it was a story that was really well done, how the Angels had like took this place or whatever. I don't really remember it, I'm just kind of doing it from memory. But I feel like if they pushed on that fact, on that creepy vibe, on what they were doing there, they could have gone somewhere amazing with it. And the second one, Eve of the Daleks, which is basically Groundhog Day but with Daleks, that was pretty good. And it was, you know, it was something new, it was something different. It's just so cool to see when they actually take risks and don't go the same boring, bland stories again and again. And sometimes they aren't, but when they do have a good idea, a lot of the time they just don't do it well. They don't pull it off well, and that's what normally happens. But with this, they did it, they pulled it off well, and it was a pretty good episode. I mean, I didn't mind it. It was just like a fun holiday episode, you know, as it came out on New Year's, which is, I like the title's pretty good as well. But apart from then, nothing else really stands out to me, or no other, you know, creepy vibes from Jodie's era and her episodes. I'd confidently say that most people who watched Jodie's era were never even scared by any of it. And you know what, as the years have gone on, Doctor Who has continued to lose its fear factor, as if they just totally forgot to keep that as part of the show. And it felt like the show and the stories just lost its whole personality, just being bland stories that have been done over and over again instead of new creepy creatures. Obviously, this isn't the truth for everyone. Everyone who watched Doctor Who as a child, they probably didn't all hide behind the couch. I bet you the majority did, or the sofa. And me, I definitely did. From the first memory I can remember, I think it was like really early Doctor Who, maybe even the classic was shown on my old TV, and I was watching it, I was like, what the hell's going on? The Doctor and the companions stepped out of their TARDIS onto like a creepy, cool alien planet, and it was all like weird and crazy, and I think the effects were like really strange because it was obviously really old, and it was like a dinosaur or something. I don't remember exactly what episode it was, but I remember seeing that, and from that I was so creeped out, I literally flipped myself over to the couch and just hid there until it came off. Because, you know, back then it did have that effect to it, that feel to it, strange, weird, you know, creepy, the unknown. And now it feels too much like a TV show, too clean, less, you know, there's no grit. It's just the horror is not there. And yes, in this new one, there was an episode 3 in season 2 of Shooty's era where that was complete horror. You know, that was really scary. We actually got jump scared a few times when I watched it. But that's it. That's the only episode out of the whole 2 seasons that were creepy and horror. And it felt like it was like a homage to it. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, we'll give you a little bit and just f it off for the rest. Like, yeah, great. But it is the part of the personality of Doctor Who. And yes, you don't have to have it all horror and creepy because they want to make it more family friendly, but now it's to the point where they won't even allow having horror moments or scary moments apart from one episode, and that's it. So yeah, think back to the times when you hid behind the couch because Doctor Who was that scary. You feared it, you had nightmares all the time because of the Weeping Angels, maybe even the Slitheen, the Vashta Nerada. Oh my god, they're amazing still to this day. Hey, who turned out the lights? And we look back to all those villains and monsters, but think about now from these new seasons and Jodie's era, do you remember any cool creatures or monsters or villains that were creepy or even scared you a little bit? Because I really don't. Is this a sign of the times that Doctor Who has gone downhill and it's gone in a direction that it shouldn't be? It's meant to evolve and grow and adapt. And yes, it's been different. You have to make Doctor Who different every time, not keep it the same, even though yes, it was better back then. But that's not because it's just changed. It's because it's changed in a path it shouldn't be going down. You know, with certain aspects that just don't fit with Doctor Who, you know, about politics and all this stuff. I mean, they still do politics in like the past Doctor Who's, but to the point where you're making references to real world, all this woke stuff. If it, not just woke, but then it just like to the point where you're shoving it down people's throats. And it's like, dude, we just want cool stories, creepy, weird villains and aliens and creatures. Like this new series, has there been actual aliens? Yes, there were some villains that were humans and just had horns. It's like, cool. Like they've got this massive budget and yet they can't do really creepy aliens. I thought, when I heard about Disney, I was like, oh my god, they've got this big budget. They can do even creepier, cooler aliens and creatures and different planets and stuff. Nope. We're just going to do humans. And Russell was like, you know what, I'm going to do aliens, but put them in the background and have them for 2 seconds. Like, is that a sign that, you know, he should leave the show behind or the show should leave him behind? We need someone who needs to bring the fear factor. And it doesn't need to be a complete horror show, you know? It just needs more of that aspect to be there to keep the tension up and not to be like, you know, a blood fest like bloody Terrifier or something. Because you can still do creepy and scary stories if it's still family friendly. You know, there is like a barrier that you can't pass. And nowadays they can't even go to the first level of them like 5 barriers to get to the point where it's too much. I mean, I don't think it's ever been too much in Doctor Who. So that's why I'd say the days of hiding behind your sofa from watching Doctor Who are over. And to be honest, when those days do come back, where you know you feel so scared and the villains and creatures are so freaky and eerie that you do want to like close your eyes or hide your face like a weeping angel, then we'll know that Doctor Who is back, baby. I mean, it could still be good without that. It could still be an amazing story, but it won't be Doctor Who like it has been the whole time. It's always had that, and yet they're ignoring it. Did you used to hide behind the sofa because you were a scared little pussy? Tell me in the comments below. I've been Calenzo. I'll see you next time. See you on the next planet. Oh fuck. Oh god. I just burped. Also, if you're still here, is it sofa or couch? What would you say? English? American?
Peace on earth.